Just like the stock market itself, NFL teams' stocks are always going up and down. And we just completed the 2025 NFL draft with some big sliders, some big moves, and everything in between. So what better way to do it than to rank some teams from biggest teams going up, biggest teams going down. Without further ado, biggest stock improvements and decreases here on Yoka Sports. Bang! Now, this isn't going to just be how many spots they went up, because sometimes that's not fair to teams in between. So I'm going to give you a basis of teams that went up depending on what they needed. So, without further ado, our very first team is the New England Patriots, going up from spot number 28 on my list to spot number 24. Now, why did they go up? Well, they got a lot of plug-and-play players. They needed a Will Campbell. They needed to protect Dre May. That was an absolute. If you had watched the Patriots last season, you would know they needed to protect Drake May. They also needed a Trayvon Henderson. Ramondre Stevenson has come off of his worst year by far with a huge amount of fumbling issues, and they just got a dynamic running back that can do both things. They also got a Kyle Williams, someone who can hopefully start off back, because this wide receiver room isn't talented. So you're hoping maybe your third round pick can come in here and make a splash. They also got Jared Wilson out of Georgia. I wasn't really high on his film, but he's a guy who can potentially start here. That wouldn't be a surprise to me. So we had the New England Patriots moving up 4 spots. I think this is a good place to be for them, you know, because every team, I have every team in certain tiers, and I took them out of the bottom of bad and put them at the top of it. So hopefully that is true. I mean, I think they're better than a lot of the teams they pass, so we'll have to see. The next team on this list being the Pittsburgh Steelers. They did get Derek Harmon, and they did lose Larry Ogunjobi over the offseason. So I think that was all right. I mean, you already have Jaylen Warren, so did you have to get Caleb Johnson? I don't think so. So I didn't think that was the greatest pick. They passed on Shador many times. I believe that's because they think Aaron Rodgers is playing. So hopefully that is true. So, I mean, that's all I can really say about that, because you don't have anyone that can plug and play. Will Howard might actually plug and play, but I'm not going to count that as anything great. I'm just going to count that as Will Howard being the best starting quarterback on a roster with people like Skylar Thompson and Mason Rudolph, who had rough last years. I don't see anyone else on this team that could be a plug and play starter. So if that's the case, you know, it's just going to be rough. It's going to go down. I think obviously Caleb and Jaylen Warren will, you know, share snaps. But with that being said, I got them going for number 15 in almost a wild card hopeful slot all the way down to 18. I think this might be one of the first years they don't make the playoffs. We'll have to see what happens at the quarterback, but that's my hot take. The next team we have going up is the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the Las Vegas Raiders went on my list from 26 all the way up to number 22, because you have 3 players that might just start in this system instantly. And on top of that, one that's going to change the whole offense. Ashton Jeanty adds a level to the Raiders offense that we all know. They have Brock Bowers. They have that dynamic receiving threat. Now they have Ashton Jeanty. I mean, come on. That's going to be dangerous, to say the least. And it's not just going to be dangerous. They have a good left tackle. So hopefully if they can protect with now having Geno Smith, a better quarterback than what they had before, I'll tell you that. Things are looking up in Las Vegas. I mean, Jack Beck in a weak receiver room could just play immediately. And Darian Porter in a weak secondary and a weak cornerback room could just play immediately. And I think this elevates ahead of the Patriots, because I think Will Campbell is a good tackle, but Jeanty is the best receiver we've seen since Saquon, it looks like. I mean, I'm sorry, receiver. Best running back we've seen since Saquon, to be honest. So I'm hoping for the Raiders' sake they're good. I mean, I have nothing against them. So there's also Charles Grant and Caleb Rogers, 2 tackles they drafted in the same round. So maybe hoping to get some promise out of one of those guys. Maybe move one of them to guard. I know they were talking about Caleb Rogers maybe moving to guard. I can't remember which one. I think that's who they were talking about during the draft. So we'll have to see there. There's a lot of potential. They have a good alignment coach. So we'll have to see. Now going down for our next team is the 49ers. I actually have them sliding pretty heavy. I have them going from 19 to 23. Why do I think this? Well, I'm sorry, Niners fans, but you have lost everything. You have lost your spark in Debo. You have lost your other... I mean, Dre Greenlaw doesn't play too much, but you lost Dre. The defense doesn't look great. The offense doesn't look great. You lost Hufanga. You lost a lot of people. Trent Williams isn't getting any older or less injury prone. And I mean, you were hesitant to sign back Kyle Juszczyk. You let him sit for a week or two. So to draft Michael Williams after he slides so much could be a risk, could be a good thing. I could see him maybe starting instantly. I don't know. Same with Alfred Collins. It's a team that did need interior help, so it could start instantly, but he's not the highest level of players. I wouldn't even regard him. Like, he's obviously good. He got picked here, but I'm not sure. And then when I saw them draft Upton Stout when they needed corner, really? I think you drafted the guy a little high. It's kind of a reach, you know. You draft him at the 120. He's a 128 overall ranked corner. You draft him a bit early. I don't know. Drafting a linebacker, like, that's not something you need in the third round. You don't have to get a linebacker. The announcer went on and on about how the Browns took the last half good linebacker in this draft, and you take one the next round. I don't know. Mel Kiper was pretty hammering it down that there wasn't any linebackers. So just with that in total and the whole offseason, things have shifted. So I'm gonna have to put the Niners just on a downwards trend. I'm sorry about that, San Francisco. You also got to play Purdy soon. You got Curtis Roquet. He could be all right? So, hopefully things look up. We have the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't say this for no reason, and I hate to hype them up, but they had one hell of a draft. Obviously, there's a reason Siobhan Rebel slid, and let's talk about that first. I mean, let's talk about where we put them first. They went from 21 to 17 on my list. They're not wild card hopefuls in my opinion. I mean, you got Tyler Booker, right? Looks like a dog offensive guard. Of course, you know, we all heard what he was saying.
Quarter after quarter, play after play, series after series, and I start to see that love leave their eyes. Like, that's what makes me love.
Looks like a dog. You got Donovan Izaruku. I tried Izaruku. He looks like a beast, to be honest. Looks pretty good. And Siobhan Rebel, obviously something good. And Jaden Blue is someone who was pretty underrated. I thought Jaden Blue's film looked really good. It didn't look the best. It looked like, honestly, the most Cowboys pick ever. He looks like a Rico Dowdle-ish, Darren Sproles-ish type of player. If you get Jaden Blue into space, maybe, I don't think he's meant to be a lead back, but we'll have to see here. Never hurts to try, right? So I think Jaden Blue, in a sense, isn't the worst thing that could have happened to this team. But like I said, Siobhan Rebel's going to start. Donovan Izaruku is going to start alongside Parsons. Maybe even split snaps with Overshown if he gets better anytime soon. Obviously, Booker's going to start adding to a great O-line already, making it even better. And, you know, you could see someone like Shamar James starting here. They're not all bad picks, you know. Surprisingly, Cowboys Nation, you get to rise this week. Now, the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are a case of a team that has improved, but not at the rate they should have. Donovan Jackson was kind of a reach. And then you don't have another pick for a while till Ty Felton. I don't think Ty Felton's going to instantly start. You already have Naylor, Jettas, and Addison. So I don't think receiver should have even been a priority on your third round pick. Maybe you should have gone D-tackle. You could have gotten Darius Thompson. He was right. I mean, Darius Alexander. He was right there. So it was a decision to make, to be honest. I've seen worse. You also get another edge, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins and Kobe King as the linebacker. Just no one's going to plug and play here. Gavin Bartholomew, tight end. You already have two. I just don't see any improvement from this draft, and I hope this doesn't lead to something bad on defense. If I was them, I would have took something on defense, but I had them going from number 10 all the way down to number 16. So that means they fell out of my wildcard hopeful spot, and they actually got put into draft purgatory. You know, that meaning teams that don't really match what they are ranked. So that's something interesting. Now, next up, we have the New York Giants. And I am biased. There's no other way around it. I am biased. The New York Giants draft looked phenomenal to me. It looked something that, you know, is once in a lifetime. It's a league-changing type of draft. You don't want to miss out on these type of drafts. You get what I'm saying? You get Abdul Carter. Generational edge prospect. Not just me saying that. Everyone's saying it. The number one rated player in the draft. So, on top of that, you trade up for Jackson Dart. In the moment, I said I wanted Shador because I thought Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston could be good leaders for them. I mean, look at them. But, am I mad at Jackson Dart? No. Co-signed by Eli, so is Daniel Jones. So that doesn't mean too much, but he's an Ole Miss product. I can't be mad at that. Look good there. Look good in the system. Lane Kiffin, coach. Not bad things. Pat Schumer was a bit in... Pat Schumer didn't really support, you know, Shador, so I don't really know. You don't help by putting out that headline. So Darius Alexander also looks like a plug-and-play player. The Giants needed an interior D lineman next to Dexter Lawrence. So you put Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Darius Alexander, Abdul Carter, and then Kayvon rotationally. The D-line is full of dogs. What can I say? Dogs. So that looked great. Cam Scoutaboo makes it look like we got Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw again. We got just a power back and a back that's going to beat you with speed and receiving. And we got Marcus Mabau, who a lot of Giants fans, me included, wanted him in the 4th or 3rd round. Thought that could be a lot of good late round talent. And he's here in the 5th. So that was great. I don't know much about the 2 7th round picks. I heard a lot of people kind of liked Corey Black. I don't think he'll start here, obviously. But Marcus Mabau, Cam Scoutaboo, Darius Alexander, Jackson Dart, and Abdul Carter can all be day 1 starters. I don't think Dart will be, but and that means it doesn't affect my power ranking, by the way. I think the team with Russ alone getting Abdul and Darius Alexander and Scoutaboo are all huge to this offense. So, and Slayton has a new number. Giants on the up, 27-21. I had them moving up 6 spots, passing some notable teams like the Colts and Patriots and Falcons. So you let me know if you think the Giants are better than those teams. I think some bad drafts tank teams a little, so we'll have to see. Speaking of teams that got passed by the Giants, the Indianapolis Colts. I like Tyler Warren. I think he was the good pick. I think you got lucky. Colston Loveland got taken. IMO, in my opinion. You get what I'm saying. But you got Tyler Warren. You got JC Tumalu. I actually did a scouting video on him. I didn't post it, unfortunately. I just didn't think it was good enough. But I did some work on that guy, so I thought he was pretty good. He actually only is 22 with 4 years experience in college. It's pretty huge. You get a guy who's ready to play. I think he'll plug pretty well. We'll have to see if he does well, though. And Tyler Warren is a guy who is going to start for this team alongside Mo Alley Cox. We'll have to see how he does, though. A lot of people think Tyler Warren has bust potential. It didn't seem like that in the highlights, but I just watched the highlights. I did not watch the all 22. So if I have to be honest, it looked like, give or take, he was a beast in the highlights. But a lot of people say he's slow. A lot of people say he's droggy and he doesn't create space. Those could all be issues in the NFL level. And especially when you have someone like Anthony Richardson where he already can't hit you accurately, you have to do that. I think it's funny enough they drafted Riley Leonard as Daniel Jones 2.0. I love Daniel Jones, of course. He was a Giant 5 years. I'm not one of those guys who hate him. I loved Riley Leonard in college. I thought it would have been hilarious if he was a Giant in the late rounds. So I'm not mad at Riley Leonard coming here. I just don't think that's going to help anything issue they have. Should have brought in a vet in the offseason. That wasn't Daniel Jones. Had many chances, and they did not. Unbiasedly, I have not liked Chicago on record for a second. I didn't like what they were building. I didn't like their coaches. But then they got Ben Johnson, and I got a change of heart. Ben Johnson's a good OC. Has choked pretty good amount of times in the past, but what a draft. Holy, what a draft. Ben Johnson gets to build his perfect offense. You get a guy like Colston Loveland, great tight end. Second, in my opinion, plug and play type of player. Colston Loveland's going to be a guy who can play alongside Cole Kmet, can block for you, can play the fullback for you, play the tight end, catch big passes, all of that. Michigan man through and through. I bet it was easier for Ben Johnson to scout, or his team to scout for him. I'm sure he took a lot of that knowledge over here to Chicago. It's easier to scout in state. So what can I say? Luther Burden. Great pick for Chicago. Chicago has a receiver like DJ Moore who can beat you deep, beat you in the middle, beat you short. I don't think he's the best at it. I don't even think he's a top 10 receiver in the league, but I think Luther Burden, on the other hand, is a yak beast. A lot of people had his ceiling actually being Odell. I don't think he has the hands of Odell, but he definitely does have the yak capability, and that's a guy you want on a team, a guy who can make plays, a guy who can get open when Caleb's scrambling in the background. And speaking of scrambling, maybe he won't have to do that as much with Ozzy Trapilo. I don't know much about Ozzy, obviously, but I do know they've had an extremely bad right tackle play, and I know they've had a not too great left tackle play either. I know they drafted for the left tackle, but the right tackle could still be fixed. I don't think that's a big issue. You can still put guys in there. But lastly, the defense was great. The back seven, the two corners, the nickel corner, the safeties, linebackers, great. D-line was an issue, just had Sweat. You get Shamar Stewart and a freak. Shamar Stewart is a freak, no Giannis. I mean, he looks great out there. He looks fast. He was projected round 1 at the beginning of the year. I think he believed he had off the field issues. So he fell a little, and I think he athletically didn't test very well in some things, I believe. Don't quote me. So I think he dropped, but I think Shamar's going to be great. I think he's going to start here next to Dexter. So we'll have to see. I have them going from 16 all the way up to 12, which is huge for me. That's why I put them at 1 here, because it took them out of draft purgatory and it put them into wildcard hopefuls and a pretty high spot on it too. Now for one of the other worst teams in here, the issue, the miss you, wouldn't want to ever kiss you, the Miami Dolphins. Now with the Dolphins comes a team that is incomplete. In every form, I mean every single form. You draft Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant looked all right, but it kind of looked like a reach. A lot of teams didn't even have him on their top 10 and big board. He wasn't even ranked the best 3D tackles in the league or in the draft. Taken before Walter Nolan, which I think is kind of insane. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Chat, let me know. I just think that's a not good decision. And they took 2 DTs in this draft, which I also think is a not good decision. I think they're kind of looking back and thinking we shouldn't have let Christian Willikins walk, and you should not have. So that was there. And then I when they drafted Jonah, I also heard that he wasn't too great. I mean, I heard he was all right and he might plug well. He did draft for Noah Filet and that Arizona team, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, this is just a draft with a whole lot of iffy players. Hopefully this goes well for them. If not, this draft was huge. They actually did get Ollie Gordon and Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers might be seeing starts towards the second half of the season with Tua's injury history, and Ollie Gordon kind of built like A-Chain, to be honest. I might be wrong. Kind of to me seems like he's built like A-Chain a little. So we'll have to see on that end, but I think that's about it for this. I had some honorable mentions. I know I had the Seahawks move up about 4 picks. Huge. I had the Saints go last. I mean, terrible draft, New Orleans. Terrible draft. I don't know what you guys are doing. And I had the Bengals stay the same. I wanted to put one of each. So this was Yoka Sports with another draft video. The only draft video. Why am I saying another? Thunder are blowing out the team 4-0 right now. So if you want to check out this video, I was talking shit about the Thunder and said they wouldn't do it, but Ja got injured, so does it count? Anyway, if you like this, like and subscribe. Peace!